Hi there, folks. Welcome to another episode of Michael in the Backyard. Got the bright sunshine in the background there. Sorry about that glare. We had some rain. We still got a puddle here and there, some damp spots, but we're dry enough to dig again and place some dirt and drive around without making a muddy tractor mess here outside, which is great. So the plan, I'm gonna get over here away from the sun so I can kind of point out what I'm gonna do next. And then partway through this video, we'll get the drone up in the air and show you the progress in phase 1, 2, and 3. And when I say phase 1, 2, and 3, I mean Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm gonna dig till as late as I can dig tonight. So right here, here's what we've been looking at, that little crown that's still out there. And there's the tree we're gonna go back to. But I'm gonna split this up into thirds. So like first third, second third, third. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the plan. Supposed to be rain Friday. If we don't get rain Friday, we'll do some more digging Friday. My goal is to get over to the tree, dug out, and then in the first third over here, this dirt and that knoll that's right there is all going to go toward, you might be able to, can you see it here? It's kind of, GoPros or camera views don't really give it good perspective, but as you can see over here, this comes from the gate down and dips down pretty hardcore there. Well, all that needs to come up. So all this dirt I'm going to dig out over here is going over here and leveling that up, bringing it up to grade. And then I think I still got a little bit of a hump here, and I still got some low spots here. So we're gonna, you can see where the puddle was? Yeah, that's a big low spot. We're gonna fill that in with dirt too. So the goal is when I'm done, like most of 90% of what I did out here has little to no puddles when it's done. And this is just really rough grade. When I get K6 Outdoors out here with his tractor and his box blade with the Scarifiers and the cutters and the draggers and all that fun stuff, we're gonna make this smooth, baby smooth. And then I probably won't haul rock in it this year, just for the simple fact I want to go through some rains, some snow, some freeze and thaw of the winter. Then the next spring, when everything dries out, because you definitely don't want to drive on it when it's thawing out, because you'll leave some ruts deep as your kneecap. And we'll get this thing covered in rock with some what do you call that stuff, that barrier that you put down underneath, some road, I am drawing a blank on the name, you guys know what I'm talking about. We'll get that down, and then we can start hauling rock on top of it. Then we can drive on it all we want. And then once I get the rock out here, might get the old K6 out here one more time and have him just level the crap out of my rock and make it beautiful. And eventually I'm gonna have to get a tractor, a small tractor with a box blade, so I can maintain it would be the plan. Because once you got a nice flat area, you got to maintain it. You got to keep it turned up. We're going to have to keep the leaf blower out here and blow leaves off of it so we don't fill our rocks up full of dirt. And just keep it nice is what I'm saying. So, okie dokie, artichoke. Let's fire up Big Mo. Let's check some fluids and fire up Big Mo and get after it. We got some digging to do. First, the boss has a couple of planters that she needs moved. And so we'll get the bucket over there and do that. And then we'll get to digging. All right, folks, a little intermission here from time lapse and aerial views for a minute, and I'm just going to talk for a minute or two here. As you've been watching, I'm kind of trying to do an active track here, and I want to keep you guys, yeah, it's doing good so far. I wanted to show you where we're at. Well, I'm right here, as you can plainly see. You can see that where the hill was right here, and I'll kind of point. Oh, there's a dip there. Right in this direction here. I've moved that wall back quite a bit already. And as you can see, as we walk over this way, well, I should say, I'll point it off this way too. So there it is, straight ahead. And now you can see where Big Mo's parked and how much further past Big Mo we currently are. So, and we're making progress, moving a lot of dirt. The new technique, there again, let's keep in mind, folks, I've only been excavating with the backhoe for a total of just over 80 hours now in total in my whole life. So I'm new to it, I'm learning it, and this clay is hard packed stuff. I am creating the new road bed here because this used to drop off pretty hard from right to left, and now we're coming in a more level. I still got a lot more to do down through here. As you can see, we did dig a trench. Now this trench represents the finish line, so it's in line with that tree there, right? So where Big Mo's at right now, over there, back to here is where we're going. And to kind of put it in perspective, I'm gonna walk down in the trench. Now I'm in the trenches. It smells like dirt. Oh. So just to give you an idea of the depth here, the little stick that I've got this camera on is about 1 foot tall. and I'm looking straight into it, and it's sitting on the ground right now. See, no hands? It's sitting on the ground now, about a foot above the ground, and it's looking directly in my face. So that gives you an idea. The dirt is right here, right? So anyway, that's how deep this has got to go. And you might be asking, why are you going through all this trouble? I don't know, but I do know. I did know I wanted to change the topography. Now, originally I bought Big Mo to redo my pond, but the pond needs drained. And then this spring, February, I broke Big Mo pretty bad. Oh, a line broke anyway. I didn't break it, but it broke while I was using it. I redid the whole, everything in front of the tractor. As people have been following me, you can go back a few 10, 15 videos and, you know, in time, and February, March time, and see what I did there. But so far, knock on wood, just about 51 hours since then. All I've done is change the oil and check the oil and add fuel every time I use it since then. So that's good. So yeah, so from the drone shot you can see there, I think you can see, yep, there's the ditch. And you can see the ditch compared to, let me walk back this way. I wonder if I can move it back. Wrong way, move back, drone. There we go. Let's go right about here-ish. So you can see there's a little bit there. There's a lot of dirt here. That just dirt that came out of the ditch there. And then you can see here how far away from that ditch I am from that pile. You know, kind of get a reference. There is tons and tons of dirt here. So my goal is to use all this dirt from here and here to finish off my road bed. And then once the road bed is finished, as I think I've alluded to before, better go around the other way, huh? I'll go around the other way. My son is going to come over tomorrow morning and run the dump truck for me. And I'm going to do a lot of digging, and he's going to do a lot of dumping. Is it still following me? Come on. It lost its active track. See if I can redo the active track. There, it's back on me again. I think when I went and I moved it, it changed it. But there again, I've got to move the Jeep in that boat that's behind the Jeep for sure in order to get the dirt over to the tree removed, but that's not my way today. Now over here, as you can see, this concrete here is, if you go from like right here down to about here-ish, that's about 1.5 feet with a drop there. If you watched my video last week, you'd have seen me bust my butt when I tried to step up and I was looking at too many things. So I did do, how many were there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 10. This here was at least 10 truckloads that I brought from over there about a week ago. So this here, there again, I'm gonna smooth this out, and we're gonna bring this out just to kind of put it all in perspective. Well, the GoPro's keeping up with me, but that's a good distance for you guys to see perspective maybe. So right there's that tree that we're in line with digging the ditch. And right here we'll go, there's front of the shop. And you see where I got that pile there and that tree. So right now, I've got to bring it up about as tall as I am to right here just to be level. I want this whole upper area here from that building to this stump basically here and past the tree a little bit to be level is my second level. This whole upper area level with the shop, level with the side yard, and then we'll taper it off to join the rest of the hill. That's the game plan in total. I don't know if I know I explained it before, but people that are new to the video, new to watching me, thanks for joining in. Believe you me, we're gonna have some fun when it comes time to dig my pond. But I am learning a lot of valuable excavation skills and how to dig and expedite and move dirt faster. So, like I explained or had a caption at the beginning of the video here, we're up on top of this area here above the tractor. Right now my head is actually even with the top of the tractor, to put it in perspective. But turning around and backhoeing like I did there, I can break up all that dirt that's really hard. I don't have a toothed bucket, plus that's a lot of area that I think it's an 18-inch bucket I got on the backhoe. I can reach in and dig down and fluff up all that dirt, and then I'm just scooping fluffy dirt, and I can scoop it, move it, and dump it so much faster than trying to run into the hill and dig it out. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, oh well, we're gonna get the drone. I put it on a view where it actually circles around me while I'm doing this next bucket work, and we'll have some time lapse from the tractor perspective here, and enjoy the rest of the video. And I'm gonna try to get a snapshot here of from this point here. Now, at the end of the video, to go from this point to what I get done at the end of the day, I'll take another snapshot with the drone, show you that picture, so you can see the progress. So we're making a lot of good progress, no doubt about it. And we're creating quite the parking lot area here, quite the flat area, which is what I'm trying to do. Alrighty, the wind's blowing and the drone's bucking around, but it's amazing what these DJIs can do. Alrighty, let's get you on the tractor. Let's get a fresh battery in the drone and let it circle around me while I do digging things. Well, did you ever have a day planned that was going to be so perfect and get so much done, and then it didn't happen that way? That was yesterday for me. I had planned on, as you saw, the video closed out there for a second with now it's time for Blue Thunder. Well, it was. Right up until it wasn't. So this is just a reminder to everybody that you can have all the kinds of plans in the world and they can be disrupted by one minuscule failure followed by another, and plans change. That's all I can say. So let's look over here. Now over here, if you guys remember, we had those dirt piles. There was 10 dirt piles there. Well, you can kind of start getting a vision of what it's going to be. I flattened them off with the big mow. We pushed them over. We can drive all over that. It actually packs down really nice. I can't believe you can drive a 11,000 pound tractor in there and it just leaves some slight tracks in it and that's it. You think it would just be soft and fluffy, but nothing about this dirt has been soft and fluffy. We've got a ton of clay in this soil around here, as you can indicated by the color here. That's an oranger color, but you kind of get an idea of some of the topography here. And so I pushed that out. This was on a Friday. I had a day off Friday. I took the day off because the weather was magnificent, and why not? Had some PTO. Let's take it and get some work done. So Friday I got a lot done. That was toward the end of the day. As you saw in the video, we dug a trench in the yard. That is my finish line right here to that tree. And then we still have this little, let's just say this little chunk right here that needs to go. Now there's a lot of dirt in this chunk, because like I said, this ditch is probably a good 4.5 feet deep right here. Same on this side over here yet. We got Mercury out here running around with me today. And we got a ton of dirt work done over here, which is really awesome. As you can see here, we've got this pretty much leveled off from here by my wife's greenhouse over through this yard part here. We built this up so much. As you can see here, it's hard to tell from here down to there. Hey, Tom. We built this up so much down in here that it's like 4 to 5 feet worth of buildup in this area, which is awesome. So we're getting a lot done. From this angle, you can see that same little section we still need to take out here. And still have a little bit of dirt piling here that I needed to move yet, that I haven't moved. But that's where Friday left off. We went from like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, went from that edge right here where Mercury's at, all the way back. We moved all this dirt, and we put all that dirt over here. All the dirt that was over in that first spot we looked at came from this section over here that we removed, and that was in the previous video. So, like I said, of best laid plans, things that doesn't always go your way. And Blue Thunder decided, nah, not today, buddy. Well, there's a demon that was lying in wait for me there, and let's not call it a major, but it put me down for the rest of the day. Not me, but the truck, personally. Let's go ahead and pop this hood open and show you something here. Well, normally, there's something right here. It's called a giant alternator. And this is a wire that would plug in. It's a one-wire setup. It had the alternator right there, plugged into the back of it. Well, all things considered cool and dandy, right? We went to start it, and the battery was dead. Nothing. Absolutely zero. We put the jump pack on it. The jump pack says, nope. Says, connected wrong. Connected wrong. I'm like, looking at the batteries. No, positive. It's connected wrong. Well, unbeknownst to me, the alternator went bad. Well, we were tracing the wiring. There's actually, I would get underneath there, but it's a pain to get underneath there. And I was under there a lot yesterday morning. We had 4 wires. There's a big wire and 3 other wires hooked to the starter solenoid there. The big wire coming from the battery, and it's a big one. I mean, these are, just to give you an idea, this is the size of the cabling that's used on those starters. This is the size of my finger. Those are big cables. And there's 2,000 amp hour, cranking amp hour, 12 volt batteries hooked in parallel to fire this thing over. Now, in a hot day, you don't need a lot of battery to start them, but on a colder day, you need a little more oomph. Well, that's where the 2 batteries come in. Well, so we had a dead short. We were getting a dead short when we tried to jump it, and when we tried to put just another battery on there, it's like, why are we getting this arcing? And so I've traced the wires back. None of the wires had any bare spots on it. None of the grounds were bad. Well, ground grounding, not a big deal. A power wire grounding, that's a much bigger deal, obviously. So we one by one went through that wire, went to the starter, found those 4 wires, the big one and 3 other little ones. So I took them all off and I put the big one back on. Had my son tap the battery post with the cable, no spark. Okay, cool. We went through them one by one. There's 2 other little wires and then that one that went to the alternator. The other 2 wires did nothing, so I left them connected. And then you'd think it would start or do something or click or something, but I think you got to have enough amperage to make things happen. But the last wire was the alternator wire would arc. So we traced it up through the harness, and it comes up through here, around over the top, and on the other side of the engine, and it was hooked up to the alternator. I'm like, okay. So maybe we got a bad wire there. So then we unhooked it at the alternator, which was this wire here, and didn't disturb anything else. Unhooked that from the alternator, and then hooked it up to the battery, the other end of it to the battery, or to the starter, I should say, and then the battery hooked up, and no arcing. I'm like, okay, maybe we just have a bad alternator. So I took the belts off the alternator, spun it a little bit, the bearing sounded a little dry. And then upon taking it out, this bolt right here goes right through here, and it was stuck pretty good. So we got it broke loose, and I took my impact and I was spinning it to where, let's just say, wear it out inside a little bit so it would move, and it moved, and we got it backed out. And while we were doing that, a lot of dirt and crud and debris was coming out of the alternator. And this alternator's gigantic, and it had a date code on it. It said date on it. And it said 4985. So I'm thinking it's date coded a lot like, my son and I anyway decided it was date coded a lot like a tire is, where the first 2 digits is the week, the second 2 digits is the year. So I'm thinking it's 49th week of 1985. Well, this truck is a 1979 chassis with a 1980 cab on it. And I think that might have been original. And it said remanufactured on it. So if that was really a remanufactured alternator from 1985, this thing has over 300,000 miles on it, which is a lot of miles. Engine still runs and starts great and does all the engine things it's supposed to. But the peripherals are going to be tired as well. So I took it to my local Napa guy. He threw it on his tester. He got the same results we got, which was he plugged it in and he hit the test button and it goes click. It didn't do anything. It wouldn't even spin it. It wouldn't even do anything. So if it passed a certain test, circulation test, I guess, that it would click and go, it would start spinning it and telling you what kind of output. It did nothing. So fortunately and unfortunately, they did have 84 of them in stock, 83 or 84 of them in stock in Des Moines. Well, that's 2.5 hours away, and they're not open on Saturdays, which is when this all transpired, because we were willing to drive Saturday to Des Moines and come back and put this in and still get some more digging done. Well, yes, I could still get digging done, but I wanted the digging I want to do. I don't want to drive the tractor from here to over there, from here to over there. That's a whole lot of back and forth, and really slows you down, as opposed to digging here locally, dumping the truck, and you can dump 5 or 6 or 7 scoops worth in one time, and I only got to move 30 feet here. So that brought that to a screeching halt. So then I was like, okay, we're not going to dig today. Let's do what I started out to do this morning, early that morning, and let's grease the tractor. It was due for the greasing. It'd been 10 hours. So I started greasing the tractor. And lo and behold, now this is late afternoon. We started greasing the tractor because we got this taken care of in the AM. And then at late afternoon, because we ran some other errands, you'll see that in my other channel. And I'll show you more about this later because it's hard to see down here. I'm going to get your camera down here and see if I can get you guys on it. But back here on the pivot for the backhoe part, we were greasing things, and I was laying on the ground trying to get to that bottom greaser that is down below here on this pivot. Let me get my flash. Hopefully my... down here. But as you can see right there, see this part right here? Yeah. That's a hardened bushing that a pin runs in that has grease around it. Well, I shouldn't be able to see that. So when I don't know how long it had been that way, but I also know that once I discover something like that, and I could have ran this for more hours and never discovered it, but I'd never noticed it before when I greased it, but the bushing had fallen out halfway. So that means things are loose. And we wiggled this backhoe back and forth here with it on the ground, taking pressure off of it and trying to pound that back up into place. And it could wiggle, but it wouldn't go back up. And I just couldn't get enough oomph on it with my big hammer, even though I had a whole, 18 inches of swing there. I couldn't get it back up in there very well. So, with that being said, we're like, well, we'll finish greasing up the rest of the joints and I'll park the tractor until I come up with a better plan. And now you guys we're going to fix this and this by the next video, hopefully. And my son's going to come out next weekend. I'll be fixing this during the week in the evenings. The alternator's supposed to be here Monday afternoon. I've got what I ordered yesterday showed up this morning, and it is hopefully a cure. Not a cure. Let's call it it's a temporary fix. And when I say temporary, it's temporary until I get around to fixing it properly. What happens on those pins is these I'll show you again real quick. You saw the bottom pin, I'll show you the upper pin. And keep in mind, this backhoe is over 50 years old. There's a bushing up here as well. There's a bushing and there's a pin and there's a bolt here and this pin through this pinhole, and everything has some play in it. Everything has some looseness to it. The pin should be relatively tight in here. There's no greasing. It should fit tight. This bolt holds it from moving. Now, how they put that pin in originally, I have no idea. I know how I would do it. Is I would actually heat this up, make it grow, drop the pin in, slide the bolt in, and when it shrunk on there, it would never come loose. But there's also the serviceability. If you don't have this pin so it slides in to place, you can't pull those pins to get the whole backhoe off of it. Catch-22. So just like I did this early February this year where I had the entire front end of this tractor apart to replace the hydraulic pump, the hydraulic drive shaft, the two main hoses that go in there. We put a new radiator in it. We put a new water pump on it. We did all those things because I didn't want to take all this back apart again because there's a ton of counterweights here and you got to take all this metal off to get to anything in there. It's pretty well protected, and for good reason. You don't want to sit there and shove sticks and stems through your radiator. And I see there's a stick right there. That's my oil cooler right behind there. It's dry. So this winter will be, let's just say, more maintenance on Big Mo here because these cylinders here, they're damp. They leak a little bit here, and you can see this. We used to call this Harley dust. My old Harley Davidson I had wouldn't leak, wouldn't drip on the floor, but you'd have these, let's just call moistened dirt collecting from dust and oil mixing and collecting. That's what we have there. I'm calling it Harley dust. And but I'm gonna pull these cylinders, these pins here, these joints here, I'm not worried about. A little play there, it's not killing me. I keep them greased. But the cylinder's leaking hydraulic fluid here and here. This one's not so bad. As you can see, there's not a lot of drippage going on here on the front too. So those may not need to be touched just yet. But these two on the bottom definitely do. I'll show you another one. This one here has a lot of drippage that happens when you're using it. It gets all over this and then it runs down. And there again, I lost, since I put it back together, and let's just call it, we're closing in on 60 hours later. No, I don't want to lie to you guys. Let me look real quick. I know it's over 50. Whoop. 56.9. So 56.9 hours later, since I put this together, I actually had to add a half gallon of hydraulic fluid. That's how much I lost out of these two cylinders, which is where I think most of it came from, between these two, these two on either side and that back one. Otherwise, everything else is, for the most part, pretty darn dry. And power steering fluid wise, even though the steering cylinders look brand new and shiny when I put them on, they're covered in Harley dust as well. But they don't leak. The power steering oil has stayed, or fluid has stayed full. Oh my goodness, what do we got going on here? Can't see it through the trees, you can hear it. Apparently there's a tractor ride going on somewhere, and these fellers are going to their tractor ride. Well, I should get on my 1975 and go on a tractor ride with them. Guess we wouldn't qualify because it's only 50 years old, and they probably have to be over 75 years old. That's all right. This 50-year-old is doing a lot of work for me. All right, so that's where we landed today, folks. And I'd like to tell you more. There's still my blanket underneath the truck there, my rags, and it's all waiting for parts and pieces. Now the good news is everything under here is right in your face. I literally stand up chest high here and lean against the front tire, and you can do all your work. But we'll leave all the tools laying here. We'll close this back up and go from there. All right, one other thing I want to show you. Let's cut to the battery chargers inside the house. So here's my battery station I've got in my basement here. I've got my Noco Genius 2x4, which what that means is that's 2 amp hours and 2 amps worth of charging capability in 4 different stations. So 1,000 amp hour cold cranking amp battery is going to take a little while to charge. So I'm seeing these have been in now about 18 hours plugged in. Now keep in mind they were stone cold dead, and I'll have to get my battery or get my voltmeter out, and we're going to put some checking on these real quick. But as you can see here, this one's actually starting to flash the second one. It was only flashing red yesterday. This one's still only flashing red, but we got some in it, and we're flashing here, and this will build all the way up till it's full and green. Now I would have expected this thing here will just go to a red or something up here. I forget what it is. It's been a while since I had a real bad battery, but it'll say no bueno, battery bad, boys. Now the other reason I said there was a gap between morning and afternoon is you'll probably catch it over my shoulder here. But that's for the other channel. So tune in to Michael's Backyard Marina over the next few weeks to see more information about what that acquisition was all about. Because that's what it is, an acquisition. More content. All right. And this is one that I had been working on for 2 weeks to acquire. And it was well worth it, I feel. And the price was really low. So check that out on the other channel. So I appreciate everybody following along. You guys are a fantastic audience. I appreciate you so much. Please like, hit that thumbs up, share. It doesn't cost you anything. That's the best way to support the channel. I don't have any merchandise yet. I don't know when I'll do merchandise. Someday. I want to come up with some really cool designs, maybe with Blue Thunder on it, Big Mo on it, and stuff like that. You know, some of the, let's just call it characters in my life play that's playing out here. So here's another shot here from up behind my shop toward the area we're talking about. The ditch is somewhere right in here. Let's see here, right here is where the ditch is. So we're actually creating a lot of, I'm going to call it flat ground. But the other thing that's interesting, I actually drove on it for, let's call it a driveway, when we went out to go retrieve said other project. You can see the tracks now in the driveway. Before, this was all angled this way pretty severely. Everything was tilted to the right, pretty hardcore. Even when you drove in the backhoe, it felt like you were, you know, leaning hardcore. Now, when you're out here, this is actually not perfectly flat, but it's much better. There's going to be a lot of grading done. K6 Outdoors was going to come out possibly today, but he's traveling and he wasn't going to be able to get enough done yesterday and come out here. So it'll be a week or two before he's back out. But the goal for him is to make this whole, let's call it the upper yard area, flat and smooth and pretty. And we're going to reseed this in grass up here. So this will be a nice grassy area. And it's like here is morning shade. This would be a great place for a gazebo and to hang out in the morning maybe. And then the parking lot. That'll be back here where all the trailers and boats and equipment will be stored on a flat parking lot area that will eventually be covered in gravel. And that's where Blue Thunder comes in again. He's going to haul all my gravel. All right, folks, once again, thank you so much for your support of the channel by watching, thumbs up, sharing with your friends. And I hope you enjoy what you're seeing here. And we're going to just keep going. Nothing's going to stop me. Nope. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm just going to keep plugging away. Get your hour a day in, folks. Do an hour a day on your project. Now, yesterday, I didn't get to spend the hour doing what I intended to do, but things break and you got to fix them and you got to improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's all there is to it, folks. It's never a better group of words put together ever was. Thank you so much for watching. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is, and we'll see you on the next video if I'm lucky. Have a good one, folks, and goodbye.